Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well, and welcome back to another drawing session with me, Nick from Cardiff Life Drawing. Today we're just going to drop straight into some figure drawing. This is as much for me just to warm up at the beginning of the day, but if you want to draw along, that's awesome. If you want to say hello, there's a little chat engine on YouTube, so you can say hello if you're live. It's always fun. And give me a thumbs up, that's always fun as well. And if you've done some drawings during the day or at any time, if you watch this later on, if you can hashtag Cardiff Life Drawing, then I can check it out later on and have a look, which, you know, it's just lovely to see what other people are drawing at the same time. So everyone hopefully has their cup of tea or cup of coffee. I've got a glass of water and I'm ready to draw. Hope you are. Got some paper ready. Let's do some drawing. So I'm going to minimise myself out of the way. Bing! Let me get my Photoshop up and let me pull myself over there. Bonk! Just out of the way. So I'm kind of up there in the corner and you can half see me. Hello! Got a couple of people watching this morning. And we'll go on to some drawing. So hopefully you enjoyed the last class. It was kind of fun. So we're doing it again today. We're going to crack straight on with just this very simple figure drawing. It's not that detailed a drawing, but I thought it would be something to get me going and warm me up a bit. Okay? Remember, if you want to say hello, just say hello down in the chat box and I'll be able to see you. I'm looking around to see if anyone said anything. So, looking at this drawing, I'm going to come across the shoulders and I'm going to go diagonal across those shoulders, alright? And I'm just going to put in my body shape for the upper torso. Easy peasy. Okay. And then I'm going to put my lower torso in, and she's sat down in this drawing, so she's fairly flat here. I am going to stylize the shape slightly and bring a little bit wider on that lower part of the torso. Okay. Cool. People are finding us slowly, seeing the viewers go up. Say hello. And okay, we'll start building it up. I'm gonna first of all, I'm gonna drop a shape like the hole for the tube of the neck to slot in and give me the pit of the neck, because I want to get the sternum down the center of the sternum. She's fairly front on this drawing, just gives me kind of the sternum, something like this. I felt like I need to drop that in. In there would be my rib cage rolling around like that. Hi Amila, how are you? Welcome to the class. And then what am I going to do next? I'm going to build this lower leg down here, I think. So ideally these lengths are normally about the same length. I've got a bit short on that lower part, but that's fine. The leg coming down there's not that much foreshortening in it, so it's going to be a similar length. So if I just put in my my bulk standard shape, so I'm a little bit wider here, okay, than I am here. That's my bulk standard shape, and I'm going to drop something like this. I'm going to put my first kind of curve in here. Just out of interest, I'm going to drop kind of a centre line down. We're going to add more shape to that in a minute. Okay. I'm going to say something down here. Hello! Because I can. Can I minimise that a bit? Oh, well, that's fine. I'm going to now think about this other leg. Now this leg, she sat down, so this is coming straight towards me. So I'm going to draw a big circle. Knee coming towards me. Always draw them bigger. It's just outside of the figure slightly. That wasn't what I wrote. What I'm saying is the knee, the centre of the knee is kind of in there. So it's coming at a slight angle, so I'm going to pull something like this. You might want to get that a little bit higher, so it's going to come out here in a minute. Got to imagine that cylinder coming towards you. I'm going to start building up. I'm going to see how I go. My first drawing is never my strongest. I don't know about you guys, but that's the way it works for me. So that's why we're drawing, just to warm up at the beginning of the day. So we're going to draw some shapes in here. We're going to draw the squash in here. It'll be the external oblique. You know, you would see some shape in there, and it's going to squash on this side, and we're going to get the stretch on the other side. And then we're going to come out on the hip, something like this. And remember, this leg bone sits in here. Alright, so come down onto the hip, and then I'm going to come out on that leg bone. Because she's sat, we'll have a little bit of squash there as well. And we'll just start trying to enjoy the shapes as we build up. I'm going to pull this a little bit higher, and I'm going to draw from the inside out and draw around some of the shapes up here. Just building a bit of that internal mass. Okay. I just want to... I'm jumping around a bit, I guess because I'm warming up. So let me come across to the rib. So we've got the end of the 10th rib. So I'm going to change direction very slightly. And then come out onto the hip. This would be a very slight model. Actually, I know this is one of... I think this is from one of the Proco model packs. So if you're drawing online, you must know Proco. He is the guru of anatomy drawing. Check him out. But he has model packs on his website, which you can buy, which are really, really cool as well. I think it's one of the models from there. So and then I'm going to get a little bit more shape on this leg. Coming down into that knee. I'm a bit thick with that line. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start playing with that centre line, just building the shape up here. Hopefully you can see this. Let me zoom in a bit. So I'm going to roll down here, and I'm going to come into the belly button, and then I'm going to kind of tuck around the stomach mass, turning very slightly down and then changing down in the groin plane. So I'm kind of doing something like that. That's my centre line. What I'm aware of is the stomach, kind of the roundness of the stomach sitting here. Right, it's light, but I'm just trying to create some shape in here. Because when I come around here, I want to roll it and kind of do something like that, I think. Right, so I'm just going to lighten this out, but it's just trying to show a little bit of shape. Let's get the belly button in there and make sure it rolls around down through the groin. Alright, now from here we got the front of the Icarus crest. And it's going to create this kind of motion down to the knee, which helps me sometimes get a little bit more shape in that leg there. Right, it's there on this leg, so this leg is doing this and then around like that. That makes sense. Same with this one, it's coming around and around like that. And that again will help me get a little bit of shape on this muscle into that knee. I'm going to do something like that. Because I feel the need to do some lines around the form. As I'm warming up, I'm just drawing for me, just putting in lines that build the shape up. We'll come back to those knees in a minute. Let's start building some of this upper torso. She is leaning back in the neck slightly, so I'm coming up from my construction I built, and I'm just going to drop her chin nice and low in here and make sure I get a generic head shape chucked in, and I'm going to put the back of the skull in, if you can see something a bit like that. Right. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Well, I feel the need to just suggest the ear, because then I want to pull down that tendon down into the pit of the neck. There we are. Cool. Hopefully everyone's doing that. Let's get some muscle into the neck. So I'm going to put the trapezius curve through there. Not going to sit on the other side. Remember, I always curve it right through and then into the deltoid, the shoulder muscle. Coming down in here. Right, let's build some shape down in here. We want to get the pectoral muscle will sit here, so I'm going to do a little curve and then I'm going to change direction, because what I'm going to do is put the bust on, and it's going to be the fat tissue of the bust that sits on top of the pectoral muscle
I'm going to do something like this. So kind of roll around that pec and then into that bust on this model, and then I'm going to come around the rib cage into my squash on this side. All right. Hopefully that's making sense. Hello, there's people who seem to be joining, so hello if you're drawing. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to draw in the bust. And I'm going to pull that to show up like this. That seems to be working for me. So gravity would be pulling it over slightly. Something like that's working. So the pectoral muscle and then into that. Cool. And we'll just put the aureolae on to create a little bit of direction. Remember, when we're drawing this, in the end it wants to feel like it's coming down here, over this, and then around here. So it's like that, how it sits over the muscle and the planes of the figure. Okay. Might want to show a little bit of that ab wall. Why not? Good. This kind of looks cool. Okay. Let's just get some weight into that deltoid. So the weight should be a little bit heavier at the bottom of that deltoid. Might want to be a little bit lower on that as well, so it's kind of coming up like this. Alright, that's probably drawing a little bit stylized, but hey, it's my drawing. On this one, this tucks back. I haven't done that. The way I'm drawing that at the moment, I'm coming out here. She is leaning back on that arm much more in the drawing I'd done. So actually I need it to kind of come back this way. So for that reason I'm just going to adjust that, because that's what the lean's about. She's kind of leaning on that arm, isn't she? So let's get that deltoid in here, and then we go down to the upper arm. I'm just going to draw a long kind of oval that sits in behind here. So maybe the bicep tricep. And then I'm going to tuck in to the shape of the lower arm. Forearm. So I'm going to coming out slightly wider there, because remember, we're in the arm, we are slightly wider here. Yeah, if you're in my classes we'll talk about this. So it's a bit bleached out, sorry about that, but something like that. We'll put some shape in there, and probably there's a hand sticking out down there somewhere. Cool. If you want a bit more shape in there, I have drawn the collarbone dropping down. I seem to have drawn it up on this side. I'm kind of suggesting underneath, something like that. Yeah, cool. I'm warming up now and I'm enjoying the drawing, and that's what it's about. It's just enjoying the drawing. Let's get this other arm out. Let's get that deltoid out, getting a bit of weight here. I want to do some little drawing tricks. Something I want to do is just roll this slightly and roll into the muscle. And she seems to have an arm out. She's grabbing a cup of tea. So we got this length and this length will be about the same. There, and a little bit of stylization, wider across here. Yeah, so something a bit like that, and then thinning out. Oh, I was talking too much. Didn't concentrate on my lines very much there. And we'll drop a hand in. So if we just chuck in a little kind of rectangle for the thumb. I'm going to show the, I'm going to, well, they had a clenched fist in that drawing apparently, so I'm just going to suggest it, something like that. I'm going to pull this muscle in front of this. Well, if we want to suggest a little bit of the face and come down, eye line is normally about halfway, but it's going to come across from those ears. And what we're going to do is just put in a suggestion of where the skull hole is. We'll chuck in a suggestion of the nose about halfway down this, between the eye line and the bottom of the chin. And we'll just put in the mouth line and the suggestion underneath, and we're not going to do a lot more than that. Today we will tuck the hair behind the ear because I feel the need to. I'm going to add a little bit more mass to the hair, because remember the hair sits outside the skull and it looks like this model has a ponytail of some kind, so I'm just going to add something like that. I'm just going to zoom out a bit so I can check the scale. Head might be a little bit big there, but it's okay. It's the first drawing. Need to let me off. Okay. What we're going to do is the legs. So I'm just going to check my lengths. This one's zooming out a bit. I want to come here. So I want this length, and I want about the same length again. Nice diagonal. And this length I want about here. I want to keep the dynamics. This leg is, I still don't feel like I got that enough. She's coming out there slightly. So that length should be about the same as that length, which isn't far off that length. And we'll see where that takes us. Alright. Cool, going to come down onto the knee. I'm going to build the side wall. This is slightly 3/4 on this lower leg. So it comes out on that knee. And I'm going to roll. And I'm going to come into the calf, and I'm going to guess I stylize it a bit. I'm coming out, creating a little kind of triangle shape, and I'm going to pull some of that muscle up. And on this side, I want a gesture of a little curve, I think, because I think this feels very much like you're looking at the shin, so I can get a little bit of curve on that, and then pull down with the rest of the leg. So this should be about halfway, probably. And then feet, triangles. Give me the back of the heel, and then the triangle is something like that. If you can see, that's the triangle is that. I'm just instantly drawing in a little bit of the shape, and I'm going to put her on the toe and grab that toe box. On this drawing, you want to put that ankle bone in. Actually, you nearly always want to put that in, but it's going to help turn that drawing. It's going to help turn the lower leg. Alright. Okay, knee. Let's get that knee sat quite high up, because there was a nice bit of foreshortening in here. And something like that. So it comes around that knee. And then we're going to come into that calf. And down through the half. And again, that's about halfway. Alright. And ideally, the weight of that calf muscle is this way and the ankles are that way. So the weight is down here and it's kind of higher there. Okay, I will draw a little curve at the top of the base of the ankle, and then this would be coming down on tiptoe if it's coming about the same height. Got it lined up better there, not so well here. And again, it's a little bit of a triangle shape. And I'm just going to suggest that big toe and let that triangle shape describe the rest of that foot. And ankle bones. Doop, doop. It should be slightly diagonal like that. There's a drawing. Cool. Certainly a warm-up. That's kind of good. I hope your first drawing kind of came along nicely. I don't know who's online. We've got a few drawers with us. There's people liking the image on Instagram. Remember, if you've drawn an image, you can hashtag Cardiff Life Drawing and we can check it out. Let's do another drawing. Let's do another full drawing here. And a fairly simple drawing, a side on, but it gives us the other shapes. So let's just zoom in. Oops. Let me just zoom in here and we'll carry straight on. Let's see where it takes us. Now make sure you get the dynamics here. Okay, don't draw the figure sitting straight like this. As an animator, I'm always looking for how strong this diagonal motion is. So, this figure should have a strong diagonal feel across it. Alright. And then she changes angles slightly in the leg. So we'll do something like this. And from the side on, our first shape is going to keep this really simple. I sometimes talk about, for the bottom and the hip, like a pear shape. Whoop. Let's see where it ends up. Something a bit like that. And that length should give me about the length of the upper torso. So this length and this length should be about the same. There is a little slight change in direction there. So if she's come in... In fact, well, let me put in the rib cage. I'm going to change my pelvis direction very slightly. Sorry if you're drawing along with me. I'm correcting things. I'm going to put something in. Look how scrappy I've made this. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do this. I'm going to flatten that slightly. So I'm kind of going like that and like that. But I've made that really scrappy. So I need to neaten it all up. And I would do this on with pencil as well. I'm such a scrappy drawer already. Terrible. One day I'll learn how to draw and do nice lines. But that day isn't today, I guess. So I got my rib cage. And I got my hip dropping in here, coming into the back of the buttock. So something in like this. And I'm going to keep building up now. So what I'm going to do is build some bit of shape onto that buttock. Oh, we've got a bit flat there. But what I really want to do is pull down from here and kind of come into the thigh. Nice curve on there. And this length, about the same down to the knee to start with. So something about there. So you've got that length from there to there. Should be about the same as there to there because it's flat on. I'm going to suggest the bottom of the knee and cut in slightly and use a little bit of curve on there. And again, this shape, this length, should be about the same as that length. I'm going to drop in the calf. And let it roll down. So that's about halfway. She's nicely on the tiptoe, so in a gesture, I would want to carry on the flow almost down from this leg, and I want to put in the back of the heel. And again, the basic shape is this triangle for feet with a little toe there. That's the basics. Always looking for those easy triangles, trying to make drawing easy. I'm going to come out and I'm going to create a little bit more shape there in the heel, come up and then give me a little bit of shape to the ball of the foot. And then if you're showing off, maybe a little bit of a curve, so I'm going to thin there and then we'll adjust some of that. Something like that. And I need to get that ankle bone on. Cool. If you want to define that a little bit more, there should probably be a little bit of curve rolling and then thinning. So the muscle comes down there, a little bit of weight on the back of that calf. Okay, let's build some of the upper torso a bit. I'm going to roll up here. I've got my shoulders going to drop in here. She's pulled back slightly on that shoulder. And I need the length on that deltoid. Actually, this is me kind of drawing in a deltoid shape, and then that forearm dropping here. And then about the same length if it's no foreshortening on that. That's the forearm, sorry. I don't know what the hand's doing, so we'll do a classic kind of like, I like to break the direction and we'll chuck a finger up and we'll just chuck the rest kind of doing that. She's going, hello, with a finger in the air. Okay. Hopefully I'm not drawing too fast. Hopefully you're enjoying your drawing. How is everyone? There's a few of you watching. If you want to say hello on the little chat. Then I might know who's watching. Some of you I might know. Hopefully some of you I know, because hopefully some of you come to my class. I hope you're all well. I'm going to roll up here and I'm going to roll down into the lats at the back. You can grab at the back here. That's your lat. So I'm going to roll down into that shape. And on this drawing, I'm going to think about that because I might see a little bit of that shape, that lat, and then the rib. Very rare. I just kind of feel I want to draw it in, so I'm drawing it in. That's kind of coming. Oops. Just taking out some of my guides. I'm a little bit stylized on that muscle, but I don't mind. Okay, this drawing is actually very slightly 3/4, so I'm going to keep this kind of sternum line and come over a bit to draw the other side, because the bust on this character is sitting just in here. Make sure it doesn't go like slip. Your bust shouldn't slip underneath, it needs to stay there. Hi Lewis, how you doing? You just said hello. Do I need to say an Italian accent? Hello, monkey verge. Anyway, that was just for Lewis. She just said hello in the chat. I'm going to draw some of the muscle and then down into the bust. And I'm just going to put the aureoli just to give direction to this bust. And on the other side, you're just seeing some of the other side in here. So something like this. And hopefully, I'm looking a bit short in here now, but we'll see where it goes. Because we're going to see down to the 10th rib and then it roll in. And nicely, we can kind of see it on the other side. So it's doing this, and then it rolls in. So the rib cage is kind of coming in there and rolling up there. So the centre line sits down in here. You're going to have too many lines in here. And then she actually turns in this lower torso. So she's kind of seeing the front, you're seeing the front plane of the lower torso. Because I can tell that you've got the belly button here and you've got the other hip here. So I'm intuitively going to do that. And what I'm going to do is, knowing where it is because I roll up here and roll around this hip, it's going to be parallel on the other side. It's like the same with the buttock line, so it's kind of all coming across, I know that. So as I come from that 10th rib and come in, I'm going to come out on that hip. And then what we're going to do is just build some of that shape around, because you're going to come out on that hip, straighten, and then we're going to pull that leg out. So I've just got to zoom out again to make sure I get my lengths working. So this length I drew earlier, on this, there's not a lot of foreshortening on this. I need about the same length again. I'm just going to get a nice little curve through there. We're going to make sure this feels like this leg feels like it would connect into that space. There's a nice big mass in that thigh. Slightly triangular down to the knee, and I'm going to do something like that. And I'm just going to lean back and make sure I feel like I'm getting enough length on that. Cool. And she is leaning on a stool or something, so it's fairly flat on here. And I've got the calf crunched up underneath and then pulling back through the lower leg, and I suppose you might see a little bit of the ankle bone and a bit of the foot. I don't know, ideally I guess it's flat down on that object. Right, keep enough length here. So I'm going to roll that down so it flicks into this shape, and I'm going to get a little bit of curve. These lines are a bit straight, so a little bit of curving on this. Sort my lines out a bit. A little bit of curving onto this, into that knee. I'm trying to stress the side of that knee a bit. We'll go back into this belly button and stomach set, because you're going to have a centre line. With the centre line coming down. Whoa. Let me just check what my brush is doing. What it's doing is going crazy. I'll find out when it comes coming down in here. And I'm just going to check my settings a sec. It's almost like I've lost my... did lose my pen pressure somehow. Not sure why. Somehow my pen pressure just disappeared for a second, so that's what I'm playing with. So my line just totally went like a marker pen. Or worse than a marker pen. Doing a marker pen I might be able to press light and hard to a point, but it totally destroyed kind of the quality of the line. Not that there's loads here. That's better. Because this centre line will come around this shape and then down into the groin. The belly button being in there somewhere. Alright. Okay, that's better. It's just a little glitch, I think it was. A little glitch. My Cintiq for a moment. Cool. Ooh. doing it again. Oh, Photoshop's pausing. Let me pause a sec. See if Photoshop catches up. There it is. It's doing something. Okay, let's get the head in and see where it takes us. So she nicely leans back. And actually in this one you're looking across that torso. I've had to be careful here because I've drawn the bust about the same height. So I would have to be careful how much I raise this up torso. I can raise the shoulder out of the torso, but I can't. If I twist my whole torso, the bust will change its angle accordingly. Let's just pull this neck in. So I've got the hole for the neck. She's rolling back, nice curve, very long neck in this character. And she's kind of front facing, so I'm doing the classic kind of oval. And let's see where this ends up. So we're going to roll this down through here. This figure looks like it's tilting very slightly, so when I try and get that, it's kind of... Well, I'm not trying to do a portrait, I'm just trying to grab that. So what I'm doing now is marking the plane underneath the nose, like the whole plane, and then dropping in my mouth about halfway between the nose and the chin and that underneath that lip. And then I'm going to just drop in the suggestion of the eyebrows. I'm just going to put the eye sockets in and the ear. Dropping that low, because again we're probably looking underneath the chin slightly. And then however the hair sits. Showing too much of the side there. Something in there. Right, and then if you're drawing that shoulder that I said, I kind of love the way you can see a shoulder like that, do something like that. If that makes sense. Something there. I'm trying to draw a whole portrait, but that gives me my kind of drawing. Okay, cool. I think that's our second drawing. That's kind of fun. Let me take a slurp of water. Still got a few people drawing with us. Hello everyone. I've got some other body drawings I had here, like torso drawings. This is a lovely twist here. If we could do that one. I'm going to do that one or one of these. This is a nice drawing as well. We'll do this one and see where it takes us. Just going to zoom in a bit. Just fancy that they're all the same scale. So we're going to do this one. Go back to my brush. So nice diagonal motion across the shoulders. Even more, I think. Oh, I'm really going to push that up. And a nice, look how strong that diagonal is there, coming back. Yeah, which means then they're kind of like, oh, do I want to get even more dynamic in there? Maybe. Really want that kind of lean, and I'm going to kind of curve this shape, already searching for this rib change here. Okay. I early on want to get in that spine, so I'm going to tuck in here nicely over to this side, and almost, not quite, but almost connecting right. Almost connecting to here. Ideally I want that length, this whole back length, I want that in the lower torso. So what I'm going to do is flatten here, and I want to come back. So I've got these really strong dynamics. That, well, it's even more than that. It's this and this, you know. That's the gesture, isn't it? And I want that length. So I'm going to draw a little bit longer, it's just smaller in this one. Getting a little bit of this, so this length, I want to kind of get this length again. And I really want to, I'm going to really crunch this time. So I've got this, I talked about a pear shape earlier. I'm really going to go for it and probably break this figure. But hey, it'll be fun doing it. So I'm going to roll into that buttock. And this is completely side on now. And for that reason, you see the front of that hip, the front wall of the hip. And this should be parallel with this, generally speaking. And then I'm going to roll a little bit of shape because I'm coming in then to the thigh. I'm putting a lot of lines in and I'm really searching, but I'm enjoying that searching. And we'll see where it takes us. Now this length here to here wants to be a similar length to that and probably a similar length to that. Something like that. So I'm just going to draw the end of that knee and do this. Let me neaten that up a bit because that was a lot of searching lines. I didn't hate the lines because when you come out it starts to work. Maybe I'm getting a little bit long in there. Seduced by the digital being zoomed in, something like that. I don't know where that leg goes. It's quite easy for me to drop that length in because again that length should be similar to that length. So I'm going to do that. And on something like this, it feels like she should be really kind of like a dancer, really on that toe, doing something like this. So we're really adding to this drawing now. I want that ankle bone in. Seems to have got a thicker pen suddenly and like blasting it in. Hopefully I'm not working too quickly. Yeah, a bit scrappy, but I'm enjoying the shape. And you get a see the S curve there? So you're coming around the thigh and into the shin. There's the S curve that artists talk about. Or you can do this S, I suppose. Or you kind of come into that, don't you? There's lots of shape coming through there. Cool. Let's see where this takes us. Let's neaten up some of these loose ends that I really kind of just blasted in. And I want to get a little bit of shape on this muscle. So I'm going to round very slightly, thin and round into this behind the knee, which will come down into the bottom of the knee. Of that muscle there. Now on this drawing I was drawing a little bit of that gluteus maximus, but you're seeing the hollow where the knee, sorry, the leg bone kind of drops in. I'm drawing that the wrong way. Feels like it wants to be like that. Trying to suggest that hollow in there, so I think it needs to be a suggestion, nice and light. It shouldn't be too dominant in my mark making. My brush is quite dark at the moment. Let's see, something like this. Right, let's build some of the shape up in here. So we left this quite scrappy earlier. Let's neaten this up a bit. And we're going to define that 10th rib, because it's actually then going to do this. And then what you're seeing is it coming down into the side wall of the ab. So I'm going to do something like that, coming into the belly button. I'm looking at the drawing here, how strong this character is. So this drawing carries on the curve down and then tucks in towards the belly button, and then you come around the stomach mass and down into the groin, and they're showing me a little bit of that groin, and that groin should feel like it carries around there. Alright. And then they're showing me a little bit of the other leg. Now again, if I come across like that, if I was to see quite a lot, if it was really turning, you get that really cool, you just see a little bit of the hip on the other side, and then it pulls out on that leg. A little curve on that. Make sure this length now feels like this length. Make sure I've got the thickness from here. And I have no idea what that leg was doing, so, but from the way this drawing's going, it'd be cool if it kind of, you couldn't take this pose, but let's do that. Let's put that calf in about halfway and pull down. And let's get even crazier and let's put it on the toe again. Yeah, remember this should be like a triangle. That's the basics. By the time you put an ankle bone in and give me the back of that heel, little shape on the ball of the foot. Whoops. Hang on a sec. I did this the other day. Tools. Tools. Boop. Boop. I just created a tight layer, so sorry to be a pain again. Having so much fun my drawing, I'm all over the place with my buttons. Right, let's get that calf in again, pulling down into that ankle bone. Just neaten some of that out. A little bit of shape in it. Cool. All looking very dynamic. Right, let's get back in to this torso mass. Say that. How you doing? I hope you're enjoying drawing. You're still with me apparently, so that's good. You're very quiet in the chat today. Do you want to say hello? Say hello. Let's get some lines in here. We've got the nice belly button in there. Nice bit of shape around here. We could get some shape around there. This looks fine. I'm enjoying that. Let's get this shoulder in. I'm going to lift this shoulder right up, and then we can enjoy how the trapezius sits in here. So what we're going to do is create like a tear shape. Okay. Alex says, damn it, I missed it on Instagram. He's missed the drawing. He can still join. I don't think he's with us at the moment. He's one of the regulars, drawing really well on our Saturday class. I'm going to pull up through here. And he did the drawings from last week's class later on, and they're really cool. He sent them to me on Instagram. Really nice set drawings. I'm going to pull down this shape for this deltoid, and I'm going to roll it down into the lat, just under there. Whoop. So we've got this shape and the shoulder blade sat in there as well. Let me just neaten some of this up and we'll start playing with it. Let me lift this arm right up. And see where it takes us. I might have to zoom out to make sure my measurements are working. Alright. That's very kind of you. Mila says, I love it. It's easy to draw with you. Thank you very much. It's nice to have you here. So it's good. Just trying to... Well, we've got to enjoy it at the end of the day, don't we? We're drawing, you know... Drawing is hard to do, which can make it difficult at times. So we're trying to just make it, enjoying the shapes, seeing where it takes us, pulling those shapes together. I'm just going to pull this neck in. Going to keep that spine kind of in the centre. So I'm trying to think about the tube again, how the tube sits in here. And then what I'm going to do is roll that deltoid and roll it into the trapezius. You can see that I was supposed to be measuring the head, but I kind of fell in love with that trapezius like normal. And that shape would roll and give me a little bit of the shape on the other side. But I want to just roll it up into the neck there and let it roll over the other side. There's a lot of lines in there though. So excuse me while I do this. I think that was Alex said he's just going on his lunch break. He's going to do it in an hour or so or something. So it'd be cool. I'm going to just draw this other deltoid, suggest that other deltoid. But I need to pull out. I'm in the danger area of digital drawing where I'm too close and not checking my measurements. Yeah, you get seduced in this tiny little area, not thinking about how all the shapes sit together. On a traditional drawing, you're always hopefully analysing each height next to itself. So that's kind of cool. Right, the head. We're going to drop in something like that. I'm trying to draw, just suggest the back of the skull. That's why I'm drawing a funny little shape. And I'll come just 2/3 up that forearm, that upper arm, just to give me my length. And I wanna lengthen that deltoid. I wanna get this arm, so this length, and I wanna pull that length in there. And we're gonna get the hand in there, and we'll drop this one up really elegantly. Let's kind of create a little pirouette. And my phone is on. Let me just hang up a sec. Sorry about that. Someone just gate crashed us. And it's okay, there's an answer machine. They'll be fine. I'll catch up with them in a minute. So, let me get a little bit of shape on... See this lat here? So we're going to see a little bit of that here on this side, which would be nice because it will follow that. And then some of that rib, so we're getting a bit more shape in there. I'm enjoying that. You zoom in a bit. And I've got that deltoid rolling. I don't want to show too much of that now because the way this arm is twisted, I want to do this, and I want to get the elbow. You'll need to roll into the elbow slightly. So the elbow is slightly in from, you know, the elbow isn't like that. It kind of generally rolls in, and then the elbow bone, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to continue this line to think about the form, to create the roundness of that arm dropping through. They've left me a message. I will be back in touch with them in a bit. Nothing stops us when we're in the zone doing some warm-up drawings. This bicep is in front of, because the way this arm is pulling away, so I need to overrun there. Yeah, come back to that elbow. And on this hand, I've done a classic little raised hand and just showing a bit of thumb. I don't need to show a lot more than that. You're not gonna. It needs to be a suggestion, but something like that. People on Instagram. The shoulder blade this is the top of the neck here. It's like the top plane. So it's kind of like, you don't necessarily want to draw that, but there's the shoulder blades in there. But actually, when you lift like that, it's probably twisting slightly anyway. But I don't want to draw all that in, but we can use that understanding and try and use it to suggest some of that shape. Feels a little bit close to that lat right now. Must be back there actually. Just trying to get shape. I want to pull back. I want to get a little bit more curve on that spine. And then I want a little bit of suggestion through there, the other side of that. The other side of that shoulder blade. Whoa, I'm struggling in there. And I think I'm stretched in my knowledge. I'm not a fan. Find shoulder blades quite tricky, I'll be honest. I think it wants to come over. I know what roughly shape they are, but I think because they move all different angles, I do find it difficult to find them sometimes. So I need to study more. Probably with Proco is the best player. He's got some stuff on shoulder blades. It's the kind of thing you probably have to view several times to really start getting your head around it. It's like, ugh. Right, we would see a little bit of the pectoral muscle, and then we're going to come up into the bust on this one. Not too big, she's fairly slight, and rolling down, allowing for the length here of the lower length of the rib. Okay, I'm just going to pull some of that length away, something like that. If you want to stretch that more, get a little bit of change in direction there from that rib. Something like that. That's starting to work. And on this is really pulling. You would see very lightly though, because it's not what I call a hard edge. You're going to see a suggestion of that rib stretching. That's in the right direction. Cool. Little bit of shape here. Remember with this forearm, you kind of got this straight bit, and then you've got the shape of that muscle, something like that. and then I don't know what we're doing with our hand. She's going to be apparently sticking a thumb out. And we will just draw in an ear, because this will come up like to the back of our ear. We'll just get this hair dropping, oh, and I just drew it dropping over, curving over that. And I kind of drew some weight and some form, just letting it drop behind. Make sure it's bigger than my skull shape. Few bit of mark making, not way too much to say that's the hair dropping away. And I think that's probably about it. Might have got a bit long on that arm up there. About it on that drawing. Cool, that's kind of groovy. What have we got? 10 minutes? Should we do one little torso drawing? And we'll see where it takes us. Let me grab these, move these over. Oops. There we are. Let's see what we've got in here. This is fun. I'm not sure if I can do this in 10 minutes. Let's see. Let's see where it takes us. We'll work quite quickly. So we're doing this bottom one here. Across the shoulders. Nice and diagonal. Should drop in. I'm going to do this upper torso. I'm going to curve this line and just drop in that shape. I want to get... I think I want to try and get a little bit more vertical on that. So sorry if you drew your first lines, but that's even me kind of rushing in and then going, actually no, because the reason is I want to then change again that lower torso, a bit like we did in this drawing. I kind of want to enjoy the change in motion between the upper and lower torso. Let's just put in the tube for the neck. Let's put in the sternum over to one side. Something like this. And then we're gonna just think about how that rib does something like that. And then we'll see where it takes us, because it's going to come down through here later on and come around. It's my centre line I'm playing with. It won't be right yet, we'll see where it goes. A little bit of shape down on that rib, just coming in a bit. And then I've got my external obliques, this little squash here. And then out on the hip, flattening, and then like a hollow in the whole length of that leg. And this model is, it's a really strong pose, that, when you're pulling out on that leg. Let's see if I need to play with that. My centre line feels off at the moment, we'll see where it comes up. So you know I drew that like that hip, I'm going to kind of draw the other side, like it's this and this are parallel, I said that earlier. And then kind of roll into the shape of that leg, something like that for now. I will place that knee, because that will help me get some more shape in there. We'll clean that up in a minute and figure out how I want to do that. Let's pull it back. I just feel like I want to pull my centre line over. And I feel like I want to change that line a bit more. See, I'm always correcting my drawing, sorry. Trying to get that and then coming down. Come in, because I want the stomach would be sat in here. This roundness would be sat in there, so it's like that needs to come over and then into the groin. Drawing quite scrappy today, sorry. Because then if I draw the end of that rib, you're going to come in on the rib. And this you're seeing it. I'm seeing the shape come into that stomach mass, but you are seeing the other side then of the hip. I might pull this figure apart now. We'll see. and then this leg coming out. This looks really big in here. Might have rushed this one and pulled it apart. I can make that work, but I do have to make corrections. This isn't wide enough. And that might have to do something like that. Which probably means I need a little bit more height in here, so sorry. Because then I'm going to see a little bit of shape across the groin doing this. So that center line comes down in there. And I want to pull over more. Bit of a struggle on my drawing side there. Sorry about that, because I really kind of wrestled with that in the end. But it's a cool drawing. It really does kind of crunch in there. To see if I can, let's see if I can bring the shoulders in and see if we can make it all kind of sit without breaking it apart too much. The knee going to be in there. Right, let's get this upper torso in. Trapezius rolling into the deltoid. And she's pushing back. I've drawn that like it's pushing that shoulder back. So let's just get that shape in. Sorry. Because then what I'm going to do is, you're seeing the front of the pectoral wall there. Because remember, the pectoral muscle sits in here. And this arm actually drops down, like it's tucking away. And you need to draw this curve on top of, because it's almost kind of leaning along the top of the hip. The hip with the hand kind of out here. Let's break that finger because it will look kind of cool. Cool, I've kind of wrestled this drawing, kind of approximately, into something, maybe. So lat, rib cage, squash here. I'm starting to really kind of play with that. Let's put the bust in. And we'll put the other side in. Gravity will pull this out. Pectoral muscle into the bust. Starting to work. We'll put the aureoli in just to direct those parts of the figure. And we'll suggest some of this out. Right, not too much height there. I need the height in here, and the same on this other side. So I'm just going to draw in. I need to get that neck in because I'm going to do a weird thing. It's nicely drawn in there, and I'm going to pull some of this apart if I'm not careful. Let me just drop some of this out. What I want to do is get that neck, how I want to drop that neck in, and see how the chin is down inside here, and you're looking underneath. We're seeing underneath that chin again, and we're going to do something like this. Just drawing the back shape of that skull. Let me just pull out. I need to get my... That feels not too bad. It's about the right scale. Right, we'll come back in here. So seeing... This isn't easy now, because we're drawing underneath a chin. That's really tricky to do. It's good challenge to do. I'm going to roll around that jawbone and get me my ear. Because remember that, if you go around the jaw, you can see it on the camera. My ear is right on that jawline, and this character is looking up slightly. So we gotta, if you're suggesting this, allow for that. Allow for seeing underneath the nose. So just drawing that triangle kind of suggestion. We got that nose line. I'm going to draw the eyebrow. And then I'm just going to suggest the hollow of the eyes. You might be able to hear my children in the background playing in the front room. I'm going to do something like this. Halfway between the nose and the chin. And I'm just going to suggest under the lower lip. It's not a beautiful portrait. It's kind of a suggestion of where this head will go. And I want to get a little bit more length on that now. Right, this will help me then get that trapezius in, rolling, that's better. And then get this shoulder, that deltoid. Don't want to show too much length there. Almost like she's leaning on this arm. Shape there, and down. And we could actually really nicely get a hand. Doing that actually. Right, nearly there for today. It was a bit of a fight, that one. Going to come down to the pit of the neck from behind the ear. It'd be nice to see a little bit of that collarbone doing whatever it needs to do. Let's suggest how that hair sits on the back of the spine. Give the hair volume. She seemed to have a ponytail in the other drawings, so we'll carry that on. And you can spend more time on that. It's a nice drawing. I'm not saying mine's a nice drawing. It's a nice pose. You can spend some time on it, really pulling it together, I think. But we're about out of time because I've got to do other things. I'm afraid I've got to actually do some drawing for work now. Something like that. Down into that knee. So I'm trying to think about how this sits. What I'm doing is messing about with the muscle there. So it kind of can have a centre line. See, I'm just enjoying drawing now, so you see me just ploughing along because I'm enjoying the shapes. Right, there we are. Some drawings from today. Let me see if I can centre that slightly. Cool. We kind of got that going. I think there needs that leg. In the end, that leg needs to kind of come back slightly. I think. I'm going to be really cheeky and do it digital. Kind of wants to maybe come back slightly. Feels better. That was sneaky of me though, yeah? Cool. I hope you enjoyed that class. It was fun. I enjoyed drawing them. I warmed up as I was going. They were nice dynamic poses today actually. They're really quite a group of dynamic stretchy upper lower torso stretches, so that's kind of cool. And twists, lots of twists in those last couple, which isn't always easy to draw. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. If you found it fun, I will do another class next Thursday at 11 o'clock. For those that want to warm up with me, just warm up for the day and do some drawing. If you're enjoying it, give me a thumbs up. Tell people, let people know about it. That'll be kind of cool. Oh, I've got a couple of thumbs up. Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll see you all again soon. So take care, stay safe, keep drawing. And I'm going to end my stream. Take care, guys. Bye-bye-bye.